Harris County Sheriff's Office is giving us an update about an alleged serial rapist as they look for possible additional victims. Carl Redfield is facing 5 felony charges, including aggravated and sexual assault and some involving family members. Right now, he's in jail on a nearly $2 million bond. Let's listen in on what the sheriff has to say this morning. It's the sheriff and officials with the DA's office. Let's listen in.
Okay, before we get started, if you would please silence your phones if you haven't already. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, and thank you for joining us today as we bring forward a very important public safety message for our community. We're here today because we need our community's help with putting an end to a suspected serial rapist reign of terror. I'm pleased to be joined today by Harris County District Attorney Sean Tier and a Special Crimes Bureau Chief Angela Welton. Their presence here today shows the case is an especially high priority for both of our agencies, but it also reinforces our shared commitment to make sure that we stand with survivors and that we do everything possible to bring forward offenders and hold them accountable for their actions. I'm also joined by members of our Harris County Sheriff's Office family, our adult crime section, who quickly recognized the imminent threat to public safety posed by our suspect and moved swiftly to begin building a case against him. Leading this investigation is Detective Nicholas Cook, who will provide details on this investigation in just a moment. Also joining us is Sheriff's Office Victims Advocate Karen Omada to discuss how we support those who have been harmed by people like our suspect in this case. Detective Cook launched his investigation just last month when a brave woman came forward to report that she had been viciously raped by Carl Redfield Jr. at his apartments in the Cypress area, which is in northwest Harris County. This woman provided information that helped Detective Cook identify more victims. Working very closely with the District Attorney's Office, they gathered enough evidence to charge Carl Redfield Jr. with 3 sexual assaults so far. We believe this may be just the tip of the iceberg. Based on the evidence gathered so far, we have reason to believe Redfield has sexually assaulted many more women, oftentimes video recording his brutal attacks and attempting to intimidate his victims to keep them from coming forward. I want to speak directly now to any woman who have had the misfortune of crossing paths with Carl Redfield Jr. This man has been in the Harris County Jail since we arrested him on July 24th at his place of work, a car dealership. The DA's office has successfully made the case for an especially high bail to ensure he doesn't hurt you or anyone else ever again. We know that people like Carl Redfield Jr. try to intimidate their victims to keep them from coming forward. They want you to feel ashamed and afraid. Don't fall for those lies. If you were harmed by Carl Redfield Jr.'s unspeakable acts, we will stand with you to keep you safe and get you the justice you deserve. You are not alone. Help us gather all the evidence prosecutors need to put him away for good so that his reign of terror ends right here, right now. If you have information about criminal acts committed by Carl Redfield Jr., please contact our Adult Sex Crimes Unit at 713-274-9370 or our Victims Assistance Unit at 713-274-9369. Briefly in Spanish. Buenos días y gracias por acompañarnos. Estamos aquí porque necesitamos la ayuda de nuestra comunidad para detener un hombre acusado de hacerle mucho daño a varias mujeres. Me acompaña el fiscal de Condado Harris, Sean Tier, y Angela Welton, quien trabaja con él. También están con nosotros oficiales de nuestra agencia que han estado trabajando en este caso, incluyendo el detective Nicholas Cook, quien comenzó esta investigación. También está con nosotros Karen Ahumada, quien ayuda a las personas que han sido lastimadas por criminales como este sospechoso. Todo comenzó el mes pasado cuando una mujer vino a decir que Carl Redfield Jr. la atacó en su apartamento en el área de Cypress, en la parte noroeste del condado. Gracias a su ayuda, el detective encontró más personas que también podrían haber sido lastimadas por él. Hasta ahora, Este sujeto ha sido acusado de 3 ataques, pero creemos que hay muchas más víctimas. Sabemos que grababa lo que hacía y trataba de asustar a las mujeres para que no hablaran. Quiero hablar directamente con cualquier mujer que ha sido lastimada por él. Este hombre ya está en cárcel desde el 24 de julio. No puede hacerle más daño. No tengas miedo ni vergüenza. No estás sola. Si fuiste víctima o sabes algo, por favor llama a la Unidad de Delitos Sexuales contra Adultos, 713-274-9370, o a la Unidad de Ayuda a Víctimas, 713-274-9369. Queremos ayudarte a estar seguro y a que se haga justicia. Necesitamos tu ayuda para que esta persona no lastime a nadie más. Nuevamente, si tienes información sobre actos criminales cometidos por Carl Redfield Jr., que está en la pantalla, por favor de llamarnos. Necesitamos su ayuda. And I mentioned that his apartment was is in the Cypress area. Obviously, also worked at a car dealership, but also want to make mention, I think it's important to note that this individual, we're trying to establish a timeline, but previously lived in the state of Indiana, where we have understanding that he served as a corrections officer in some correction system up there in Indiana. So I think that's important to note because his reign of terror may not necessarily have started here, but others may be able to tune into this information, and perhaps he has other victims in other states as well. So I wanted to make sure that we shared that. At this time, I'd like to invite Detective Nicholas Cook to come forward and tell us more about his investigation. Detective Cook.
Good morning. I'm Detective Nicholas Cook. I'm with the Harris County Sheriff's Office Special Victims Division. Over the past several months, our Adult Special Crimes Section has begun multiple investigations for aggravated sexual assault involving the defendant, Carl Redfield Jr. As the sheriff said, he is a known former correctional officer in the state of Indiana. He works at a local car dealership in West Harris County. He's also known to frequent bars in Northwest Harris County, West Harris County, and use online dating apps. What began as a single case quickly developed into a multi-victim investigation. Each survivor came forward independently and provided consistent information that described patterns of manipulation, coercion, isolation, and in some cases, a firearm to control and exploit some of these victims. Through a coordinated effort with our Harris County Sheriff's Office Patrol Division deputies, Crime Reduction Unit, Harris County District Attorney's Office, and our High-Tech Crimes Unit, we recovered critical evidence, including video footage, digital messages, witness statements that led to multiple felony charges with multiple victims for these aggravated sexual assaults. But this is not about the charges. It's about the survivors. And we know there are likely others that haven't come forward yet. If you're out there and you've experienced something similar, please know our priority is your safety, your dignity, and your healing. We recognize that some survivors may have felt that they were unable to make a report originally. This could have been out of fear, out of stigma, or for concerns about how they may have actually be viewed. But let me be clear, this investigation is about the people who were taken advantage of and to make sure that they are heard and supported. If you come forward, you'll be treated with compassion, respect, and without judgment. We're here to listen, we're here to help, and we're here to ensure the safety and justice of every victim. Thank you.
Detective Cook. We'll open it up for questions in just a few. Next, I'd like District Attorney Sean Tier and Special Crimes Bureau Chief Angela Welton to come forward to tell you about the work their team has put into building this case and their commitment to pursuing justice. Their office has been phenomenal. They've been working with us every step of the way. It's been very collaborative. And as Detective Cook just stated, this isn't about one particular case. This is for all survivors, that we stand with you. Our office and the District Attorney's Office is deeply committed to making sure that we continue to stand united and send a strong message that sexual assault is against the law and it will be prosecuted to the fullest. Law enforcement will do its job, and the District Attorney's Office is doing their part as well to make sure that we hold these individuals accountable. DA Tier?
Thanks, Sheriff. Okay, I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to hand it over to our Special Victims Bureau Chief, Angela Welton, who her and her team have really worked hand in hand with Detective Cook and the rest of the Sheriff's Department to get this predator in custody in really record time on a case like this. One thing I do want to just touch on is the collaboration that you saw in this case, and you're going to continue to see in this case, is indicative of the way that our office works with our law enforcement partners at every level. It is a new day in Harris County. We are all partners in making sure that every single victim is heard in Harris County and that every violent predator is held accountable. Angela's going to talk about some of the ways that we really sped up the process to get this individual into custody going forward. But what we're doing now is we're going to slow it back down. We've got him in custody. He can't hurt anyone else right now. So now our job is to go forward and get the full picture of who this man is. And that's why this press conference and our media partners are so important to getting this message out. It doesn't matter how you came into contact with this person, on what app or what bar or whatever way you came into contact with this defendant. Come forward. Let us know what happened to you. You will be treated as the victim that you are. We're not in the business of going after relatively small crimes when we have someone out there who is a predator, who has preyed on numerous survivors. So please, we want to get the full picture before we eventually put this in front of a jury and ask for the punishment that's so richly deserved in this case. And with that, I want to hand it over to Angela to kind of fill you guys in.
The arrest of Carl Redfield is a strong first step in keeping our community safe. Detective Cook heard the plea from this complainant and took it seriously. He and the Sheriff's Department worked tirelessly and quickly in order to put this man under arrest. We at the DA's office, with Gabe Kubak and Jay Gordon, worked with Detective Cook to make sure that the warrants that were needed were signed, that were done. And currently, Redfield sits at 5 charges with a bond of over $2.5 million. We are now asking for you, the community, to come forward with any information you know about Carl Redfield so that we can build a strong case and seek justice for the women in our community, for the people in our community, to be safe as we walk the streets and we live our lives.
Our next speaker is Sheriff's Office Victims Advocate Karen Omada to discuss some of the services we provide to those survivors who have been harmed by violent criminals.
Good morning. My name is Karen Almada, and I am an advocate with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Our unit just wants everybody to know that any victim of sexual assault, please know that you're not alone, that we see you, we hear you, we believe you, and we're here to help. We understand how difficult it is to come forward, but we're here for you. At the Harris County Sheriff's Office, your safety and healing is our priority, so we want to take care of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And want to thank our media partners as well for coming forward and helping share this very important information. I mentioned a few important points that I thought we needed to make, such as some of his employment history in the past, apartment complex in the Cypress area. He worked at a car dealership. You heard he frequented bars. At times, he used different ruses, if you will, to try to find potential victims, including using apps, text messages, you name it. At times, even using alcohol, different factors. Look, we know when it comes to sexual assault, there's a lot of misconceptions, misinformation out there, and sometimes survivors do not feel heard or understood. As you heard Detective Cook say, we're not here to judge anyone. We're here to support you and to try to make sure we conduct a thorough investigation. So to all the survivors out there, we want to say, again, that we hear you, we see you, we stand with you. We need you to come forward. We understand that you could be very fearful. We understand that. We know it may be difficult, but others have come forward now. Help us make sure that we have a thorough picture, as DA Tier said, so we can make sure that we could successfully, or they can successfully, prosecute this to the fullest with the appropriate type of punishment, that the jury has everything they need to consider. You know, take your strength back. It's a time to come forward. You could reach out to our Adult Sex Crimes Unit. You could reach out to Crime Stoppers, where you could always report things anonymously at 713-222-TIPS. But Detective Cook, ourselves, and the District Attorney, Sean Tier, and his team, we're ready to stand and support you and continue moving this forward. Again, we're here because we believe there's other victims that just maybe haven't come forward, haven't been identified, and that's what we want. So I'll turn it over to any questions.
Sheriff, I noticed one of the charges is related to a family member. I know that maybe not great detail you can get into, but can you address that?
So family law or family member can mean many things. It can mean a dating relationship. It can mean one date. So in this circumstance, it doesn't necessarily mean a wife, a daughter, something like this. It is more likely a dating type of relationship, but that level is held to a high level. Make sense? Okay.
Can you mention one of those 5 charges he's facing?
Yes. Aggravated sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, sexual assault, and aggravated assault of a family member are the 5 cases that he is currently charged with.
These are all 5 different alleged victims?
It is 2 complainant victim survivors, 5 charges altogether.
You mentioned multiple times that that he was using apps to communicate with people. Do you guys have the option or ability to go to those companies to try to find out people he might have messaged or met through the app?
Our investigation is ongoing and continuing. We will do anything in our power to get the information we need to bring everything to light with regard to what happened in this case and seek justice. So yes, we will be working on securing as much information and evidence we can on different apps and any other evidence that we discover.
Can you talk about what search warrants have been executed so far, and then what evidence possibly came back from those search warrants?
Yes, sir. As of now, 2 search warrants have been executed. One was a residential search warrant for the defendant's residence that was executed. The second search warrant was for a DNA buccal swab to compare it to any DNA information we might have.
There was one alleged victim that I've talked with who's scared, frankly, to come forward because of the way that they met and the understanding that maybe there would have been some money involved. Also, she has children. Can you talk about what you found so far in terms of some of the victims here and, you know, if they do have that fear, especially, you know, she doesn't want to have her kids taken away.
Right. Good question. I would say that's a very good question, and I think a lot of people might feel that way. What I will say is this. With obvious privacy concerns for active cases and other victims, and including the one you mentioned, and whoever else is out there, as the sheriff mentioned, our concern is the survivors, and we're not here to go out of our way to cross-prosecute anybody or remove children. We are here to be your voice and for justice. So if there's somebody out there that is a victim of this, have no concern that we are trying to infiltrate your life, expose your past, or anything of that nature. We are here to ensure justice as much as they're willing to cooperate with us. So, good question, but our objective is not that.
In terms of the videos that you guys have recovered, how many?
A lot. We haven't even been able to go through all of them. We're processing them. I'm honestly not sure of the number, but I will say it's overwhelming.
Were they being posted online, or were they private videos?
Not that we're aware of. That part of the investigation is still active.
Are
And
we talking about hours and hours of sexual assault on video?
potentially, but not verified. We still have to go through the investigation and review everything. The video part of this case is very preliminary.
And where did the majority of these sexual assaults actually happen?
As of now, we have information in multiple locations. So right now, we're trying to verify through the investigation the exact locations. Obviously, the ones that have been charged were in Harris County, all in the northwest or west end, but we still have other cases that we haven't filed on that are in various locations.
Given that I think a firearm is alleged to have been used in at least one of these cases,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
that can open up avenues to federal charges. Have you all been in contact with the FBI or DOJ?
Not at this point, but that is a part of the current investigation, so that's a part of the bigger scale. That's a good question, yes, sir.
So wait, when you say other locations, like, did he own these locations, rent them, like, are other people involved?
That part is still under investigation. We haven't been able to clarify the exact details of some of the different locations.
Do you know what his criminal background has he ever been convicted in the past?
May I speak of that?
Yeah.
Yes, he has been convicted in the state of Indiana, where the sheriff had mentioned, and I mentioned that he was a former correctional officer for trafficking in narcotics inside a correctional facility. He also has a conviction here in Harris County for domestic violence.
How long has he lived in the Houston area? How far back are we talking about?
We're still verifying actual records as opposed to public records and getting, you know, leases and deeds, but it's at least 2 years. Thanks, sir.
One of the reasons that we're here is to try to get some of those answers as well, and that's why our community's help, I started my comments just saying that can really help us connect a lot more dots and identify a lot more victims. You've heard that it's a huge number of videos that are out there, and we'd like to understand, because sometimes it's possible none of these survivors even knew they were being recorded. At times, a gun has been displayed, so we don't know how many times. Locations, we're still trying to tighten that up. I mentioned different places where obviously we talked bars, other things. It could have been an app, it could have been at a bar. At times, alcohol was used, and a lot of times survivors are afraid to come forward feeling some guilt, or there's a stigma thinking, well, I was drinking a little bit, I don't remember everything. We want folks to come forward, because let us work with you to try to better understand what happened, because you should not feel guilty in that way, and no one should be victimized. I also want to point out that it appears that his targeted victims were African American. But with these, we're never limited. We're never going to say only that, because we simply do not know. We don't know his past history, when this started exactly, but we really need the public's help, and he seemed to be pretty prolific in his efforts to be trying to find the next victim. So no doubt there's more out there. We already heard of one that apparently may be fearful to come forward. You know, the district attorney's office, they're committed, again, trying to support survivors. And you know, obviously they'll have to look at everything on a case-by-case basis, but we see them as the survivors and victims in this, and help us put this predator away for good, right here, right now. Any final questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we've been listening to some rather disturbing allegations. Officials from the Harris County Sheriff's Office and the DA's office talking about Carl Redfield Jr. He's facing 5 felony charges, including aggravated and sexual assault. They say, though, it's just the tip of the iceberg. The investigation started when a woman came forward claiming she was raped at an apartment in the Cypress area. They believe more victims are out there. They arrested him at a car dealership where he worked. In the past, he was a corrections officer in Indiana. Now, if you have any information, they're asking you to please come forward, urging people not to be scared to come forward. Bond for him is set at over $2.5 million. Redfield, they say, used online dating apps, and he frequented bars. Some of the alleged victims were family members. They say he used patterns of manipulation and had a firearm as well. They recovered evidence including video and messages. But they point out today is about the survivors coming forward. So they're asking you to call the sheriff's office or Crime Stoppers if you know anything, to not be scared to come forward. And of course, we're going to continue posting any updates on our website, khou.com. And our reporter, Jason Miles, he's going to have a live report coming up on KHOU 11 News at noon. I'm Ron Trevino.